You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole, and we'll go fishing in the crawdad hole, honey, baby mine. Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today's project is going to be this Catalina number 804 reel. And I bought this thing off of eBay. I was playing the other night. Well, I guess it's been a couple months ago now rather than just the other night. I was playing on eBay and I was looking at super cheap reels, and this one came up and it had a minimum bid of $1. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get hurt for $1. And then with $8 shipping, I said, well, you know what? I think I'll give it a try. Well, I had no idea this reel was as big as it is. This may very well be the largest spinning reel that I've ever worked on. I've worked on some pretty big ones. So this thing came, I got it for $1. And the seller noted back to me, he said, hey, you got a heck of a deal on this. And I think he's right. I think it is a really good reel. It's a nice price. It has a rattle, if you listen. And got a really loud anti-reverse. Anti-reverse override works on it. The drag works. The bail trips beautifully, but it does have this vibration in here when you wind it, from probably just from lack of lubrication. And we're going to take this thing apart. Yeah, hear that rattle? See if it'll do that without the clicker. Yeah, that sounds horrible, doesn't it? And we're going to tear this thing down and see if we can't make it a better reel. And we're going to start off by taking off the drag knob. That is a solid metal drag knob. I bet that thing weighs 2.5, 3 ounces. That thing is heavy duty. It's all metal. Okay, let's take off the rotor. There's our drag clicker. That's a really nice drag clicker. Let's take a look at what we got in here. This is going to be one of those that's not real fun to try to get the spring out of. We're going to try it with a razor blade because a screwdriver isn't likely to fit up in there. There we go. Yep. I had it for just a second with the razor blade. I'm afraid the razor blade's going to break. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get started with the razor blade and then see if I can slip the screwdriver in behind it. I knew it was going to be a bit of a pain because there's no Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels. Today's project is going to be this Catalina number 804 reel, and I would like to show you what happened from the start, but I forgot to hit the record button. So I'm going to have to pick you up from right here, and basically what we did is we took off the spool and took the drag apart, and here's the drag parts right here. We'll walk you through putting it back together. There's your drag washers. Here's the lower drag washer. Here is the clicker for the spool along with the screw for it. What happened is I took it apart, forgot to hit the record button, and when we got the spool off, what I found was that the drag washer that was on the bottom, that's this one here, had long adhered itself to the spool and would not turn, couldn't get it loose hardly. As a matter of fact, you can see some of the paint came off with it when I tried to take it off. It had been there a long time. But even more important than that, even though the inside the drag itself was in really good shape, inside the spool area in here was completely eat up. And what it looked like was somebody had line trapped inside here on all knotted up, and that they had taken a sharp chisel or something and gouged it trying to take the line off of it. And it was gouged out both top and bottom. And it was just so bad that I knew that if I tried to ever put line on it, it was going to just cut the line. So what I did is I took the spool off, and I took it out and I chucked it up in my lathe, and I spun it to remove all those gouges out of it. And once I had that done, I was down to bare metal, and I decided at that point that I was going to repaint the center portion of the spool, which I did. And I did not have this greenish gray paint, but I did have some bronze paint that I used yesterday to repaint a park bench for the church. And I decided to use that on the center of the spool, and we're going to sit around and wait for that to dry. But in the meantime, we're going to proceed on with the rest of the reel. And I bought this reel off of eBay, and it was one of those $1 purchases that I made. And I saw it. I said, you know, for $1, I can't get hurt. Well, you know what? It is a nice reel for $1. I had no idea this reel was as large as it is. One of the problems that there is with the reel, and I had displayed all this when I thought I was recording, is watch this. Hear that chatter? That's not a gear chatter. That's a bushing chatter. It's chattering inside the bushing there. So we're going to see if when we redo the lubrication, see if it doesn't fix that. And I'm pretty sure that it will. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is try to take this handle off. And there we go. It's tight, but it comes off. And we want to check the screw down for this handle. And see, I wonder if it will come all the way off. I believe it will. There we go. And that gives us an opportunity to clean this up just a little bit. And what I want to try to do is get into the habit of cleaning things as we take them apart. I think we will get a better view of what we're looking at by doing so. And not everybody's going to have a little brush like this. I don't know where I picked this up. It was a yard sale, I think. But it can come in handy for things like this. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's much cleaner. And we'll slide that back in. And this is a big saltwater reel. It's probably one of the largest spinning reels that I've ever worked on. Oh, I put that on backwards. Let's turn this around. One more turn. I think we got it. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put a drop of oil in the threads. There we go. And we're going to put a drop of oil in the threads here because this did feel really tight coming off. Okay. Now, I got that out. Let's go ahead and remove these 3 screws. All right, let's see what we got under here. Oh, okay. Well, that's different from any reel I've encountered before. And it looks like a perfect opportunity to take this screw out, and we should be able to remove the axle shaft. Okay. There we go. The axle shaft. Yes, axle shaft is going to come out at that point. And we will clean that. That's a big heavy-duty axle shaft. Okay, And now we will take the crosswind block out. Oh, crosswind block and gear out. They came out together. Yeah, that definitely is going to need a little bit of cleanup. Let's see if we can clean these parts up just a little bit. Okay. Well, that cleaned up real nice. Oh, do not lose that collar off of the crosswind block. There we go. And let's see if we can get this guy clean. Now this one's going to take a little bit different approach to cleaning. We will use my acid brush for this one because it gets into detail work that we can't get into with a wire brush or straight bristled wire brush. So we'll see if we can't scrub it down good with this. All right. And let's clean the grease out of this hole, like so. And there is our crosswind block, nice and clean and ready to go again. All right, let's see what we got next. Next, we can take out the main gear. Okay, and what do we got? Oh, we got a washer. Where did this washer come from? Okay, I do not see any place in here small enough for that washer to have been. I wonder if that was just accidentally in there, and I wonder if that was what was chattering in there. Okay, let's scrub this down good. We're going to come back to that washer in a few minutes. Okay, I think that paper towel's about done. Let's move to a new one. Okay, let's try this all over again. There was a lot of old grease in there, and first cleaning really helped, but let's see if we can't give it a second cleaning. And we'll clean out the teeth from the main gear. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and use a little bit of brake clean. There. All right. That looks much, much better. Now, what is this? Why is there teeth up there? Oh, that's going to drive the oscillation gear. All right. And we're not going to take that apart. We're not going to pull the screw out. here. Disassemble this, there's no need. It's nice and clean and it looks in great shape. And I still don't see any place. Oh, I know where that, right there is where that lock washer goes. Okay, it fell out of the crosswind block when we removed it. It was in this hole right here. Okay, that answers it. I was gonna say, there. Okay, now we know where that came from. And let's take a look at this anti-reverse. See if this is something we want to take apart or not. Well, it does appear that we should be able to easily take it apart if we wanted to. Although I don't see that there's a need for it, except to show you guys how to do it. Let's see. That like that's going to move that out of the way. Okay, and that sleeve on there is holding that spring, I believe. Is it swedged on or is it just... Yeah, that's on there very tight, which means I don't think that'll come off. I think that's swedged down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the rotor off. There we go. It is reverse threaded. Okay. Now. Oh, wait a minute. This might be one of those rotors that looks like it's really tight. This very well might unscrew. So in order to unscrew it, we would need to have the main gear back in it, along with everything else. And I don't want to take a chance on chewing that up. I have encountered this once before on a reel, and we're going to try it, but we're going to go ahead and clean this first. We'll clean it and assemble it, and with everything put back together on this side, then we'll see about removing the rotor. Okay, and until then, we will leave that alone. I believe that that rotor unscrews. That's what it appears anyway. I could be wrong. But I certainly would not want to use any excess force on it, trying to get it to move, only to find out that it is screwed on. All right, we're gonna flip the lever here to activate the anti-reverse override. Now move up, still got a little grease to take out, old grease. With that out of the way, there we go. All right. Let that out of the way. Let's clean this up. Okay, we should be able, at this point, to lubricate this main gear. And don't lose that shim. Drop it down in there. Okay, and when you activate that, that should activate that anti-reverse, which is, it's loud. Man, that thing is loud. But we'll go ahead and deactivate it for now. We're out of the way. I'll tell you what, let's take this back up for a minute. And let's add some grease to the back side of this. Slide that back in, and we're going to put some grease in here. so. Now, we're going to put some on the pinion gear. Rotate it around a little bit and add some more. There we go. All right. And let's see. That's about as far as we can take that, but that's what will allow us now to crank this handle on and hopefully lock this in place and see if we can unscrew the rotor. Okay, put that in place. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute, it's reverse threaded, isn't it? Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wedge a rag into the main gear, and then we'll see if we can turn this. There we go, and it unscrews. I was correct, it does unscrew. Okay, and that gives us a chance to get that off and get all this nasty mess out of here. Okay, now we can go back and unscrew this handle, and probably the best way to do that is going to be that's not going to work that way. Well, okay, there you go. The pinion came on out anyway. Dropped right straight out. And that leaves us with this bearing. There's a shim, and there's the bearing. And this is where all the chatter has been coming from. There's a lot of sand in this. Yeah, we're going to clean that sand out of there. And again, we're going to rinse it with brake clean. And I'll scrub it just a little bit. Spray it again. Okay, that got that pretty well cleaned up. Now, what is not clean yet is this bearing. And this bearing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this wooden dowel that I've made, and we're going to spray it down. With some WD-40. And we're going to spend some time here just kind of moving it around a little bit. And now, if you could feel all of this grit that is in this, and you may be able to hear that. But what we'll do is we're going to take and rinse and blow this thing out with my air compressor about 5 or 6 times. And when we come back, see how those bearings look inside? Well, they won't look like that anymore. They'll be nice and clean. Okay, as promised, I'm back with the bearing. And if you look, it looks much better. And I think that will take care of that grinding noise that we had when we first started attempting to run this. Okay, and if I remember correctly, in talking to Chris Jenkins about this reel a while back, I believe that he was telling me that this is a trade reel that actually is a different reel, but it was made under this name, and he will probably pop up in the comments section and tell us what the actual name of this reel is, and I will be able to upgrade it in the title if he does, or if somebody else does. It's a really nice reel. It's a heavy duty. It's a heavy duty reel. I think you could pull a battleship with this thing. I'm kind of interested in, when I get down to the end of it, as to whether or not what the what the gear ratio is on this. And I could sit here and try to count out the teeth, but I'd prefer not to do it that way, although that is the most accurate way, and as long as I can stay on the number and don't have anything here to mark it with. Yeah, that's the problem, is trying to keep the exact count. That one, and then get the count off of this one, and trying to keep that accurate is not. I'd rather just rotate them around and do the counts later. Okay, oh, there we go. There's shims. There's a bristle off of my scrubbing brush. Get rid of that. There's another shim. Okay, and let's wipe this out. And I think we're ready to start putting this reel back together. Okay. Now then, I'm going to take these two shims, put them on the pinion like so. Let's go ahead now that the pinion is out and properly grease it. Go. Okay, and we should be able to slide it in. And of course, what we're gonna have to do is put the shims in place. Use a little grease to hold them in place. Maybe I can get them. There we go. Got them in there. There we go. And let's oil this shaft right here. Now we'll slide the pinion up and hopefully into a position. There's a shoulder there that doesn't want to let me come up and over it. There. Nope. Okay, well, this will be so much easier without this main gear in. Let's see if I can get it to unscrew. Let's see here. I don't want to chew it up. We took it off. Let's see. There we go. They went in. There we go. That got it in. Okay, we're going to hold it in place. And now we will put the bearing in. We will put the shim in. And before we tighten this rotor back in place, we are going to oil that bearing again. Okay, and now we should be able to take this rotor and screw it back down. Okay. Oh, that's nice and smooth. Okay, no more chatter. Okay, let's go ahead tighten down the nut. Okay, now we should be able to unscrew the handle. Yeah. Okay. Get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and oil the axle shaft. And we're going to slide it in. Kind of maneuver it around a little bit. Make sure it's well lubricated all the way. And now, we got to be a little bit careful here. This guy is going to go in, and he's going to go like this. Okay, let's rotate it around to the front. Okay, and we're going to take the crosswind block. Put it into place. Now, before we do that, let's go ahead and grease under here. Oh, and make sure that that sleeve stays on. Okay, we're gonna grease the teeth of this, and we're gonna put some grease inside the crosswind block where that's going to ride. And now, with all of this down where it belongs, we should be able to take the crosswind block, set it back into place over top of that post. Now slide the axle shaft out, or spool shaft, depending on what you want to call it. And let's bring it up until that hole lines up right there. And this is where our screw with our lock washer goes. Goes right there. Now let's see if we can't get that started. Okay, there we go. And there is all those components working properly, lubricated. And let's turn on the anti-reverse. There we go. Okay. At that point, we can go ahead and put the cover back on. I forgot that I had shrunk in. Hopefully, we'll still have enough of this in the camera to see. All right, at this point, the paint looks like it's dried adequately in there, and we're going to see if we can put this back together. And we've got a screw here, which I'm hoping is not too long. And let me see if I got a shorter one. I lost the original screw that was in this, and so I got a replacement, and it looks to me as though the replacement might be a hair too long. I don't want it sticking through into the spool. Let's see if this guy here is the one I want. And it is. Okay. All right, what we're going to do is take this back out for a second, and we're going to put this spring over here, and put this screw in the hole. Okay, like so. Okay, and we're going to take this side over here, pull it out and put it on there. That's good. And we're going to put this screw back in on the clicker. Okay. Okay, that's got the drag clicker reinstalled. We're going to come back to this side now, and we're going to install this leather drag washer, which I buffed it up a little bit, and I've applied a little bit of Cal's Universal Drag Grease on it. And now under this drag washer goes this big spring, followed up by the drag washer. Followed up by this keyed drag washer right here. And this is going to go in on top like so. And then, last but not least, is going to go this spring. There we go, spring's installed. Now, under this washer, and also going to get a dose of Cal's Universal Drag Grease, is this other leather washer. And we're going to put it on. And like I said, it had adhered itself to the bottom here, and I've cleaned that up, and I put it on the lathe and sanded it down real effectively until it's smoothed out. Okay, and now there's our clicker. Okay, and let's reinstall the drag knob, which, yes, it's a beast. If I can get it started. There it goes. And it is adjustable. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going back into this thing. First off, I had the video blown way in, and you couldn't see a lot of what was going on. Second off, there's a problem with this reel. See this right here? We need to shim this. Either that, or I need to tighten the rotor down more. I'm not sure which, but I won't know until I get inside. Maybe I just didn't tighten the rotor down good enough. And we're going to find out in just a minute. Because what we're going to do is we're going to remove the axle shaft. Okay, remove the axle shaft, and we're going to loosen this back up and see if we can tighten the rotor more. Now see, it's as tight as it will go apparently, and yet we need more shimming. Okay, so do we shim it under or over? I say we shim it under, that will pull it down closer. Okay, and okay, that's one more shim than it needed up there, two more. One more shim than it needed. All right, let's see what we got here. I think we can squeeze in one more. Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. Now let's see if I can unscrew the rotor. Oh, it's in that. Okay. Now then. I could probably shim it from above, but I prefer to shim it from underneath. So let's lift this out. And we will unscrew this out of here. Okay, these are the shims. Oh, they're too small. I need bigger shims. These may be the biggest ones I got. Okay. So we're going to have to shim this from above. I didn't want to, but that's what we're going to have to do. Okay. These are not fun to put in. There. Okay. And now we'll set the bearing back in place. This shim back in place. And that doesn't fix the problem, does it? Has to be shimmed from the bottom. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got me some more shims, and we're gonna try to sit these in place and see if we can get them to hold there. Well, I slipped this pinion back in. There we go. Okay. Now, put that on. And that shim. And now, I believe we're in business. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Screw the rotor back on. That didn't take all the play out, but it took a lot of it out. I think I should try to find one more shim. All right, I had one more. We're gonna slip it in. Add a little more grease to hold everything together. And let's see if we can get everything to go back the way it's supposed to be. All right, we have that part shimmed correctly. Now, we still have a main gear over here that has got play in it. See that there? And we're going to try to take that out as well. So, let's see. If we can add a shim in there to take that out. If I've got one that size. And of course I do not. These are big shims. And there's only the one in there. And I really would like to take that out. All right, looks like we got one shim left that we can put on there. There we go. Okay, slide that in, and let's tighten down the handle. Just a little bit of play. Okay. Now we're talking. Okay, with that done, we can come back. I've already oiled the axle shaft. We're going to slide that in.
we're going to come over here. We're going to install the crosswind block. Sorry, crosswind gear. You got to get it meshed into these teeth here and then put it into place. Okay, then push the axle back and let's set the crosswind block in place. And we're going to hold that for a second while we put the axle shaft back in, or spool shaft, whichever one you want to call it. And let's set the axle shaft in place. And let's see. Yep, screw started. Okay, hold it snug, and we don't want to butterfly it, so we want to be careful. There we go. And there we go. Okay, let's go ahead, put the side cover back on. All right, there you have the Catalina 804 finally back together properly now. And there's no, look, there's no shift, there's no shimming required. This thing is doing a marvelous job now. Sometimes it really helps to shim a reel. And this one really needed it. And it looks like I'm gonna have to go out and purchase some more shims, because these 8x13s, I need some 10 by, looks like I need some 10x14s. That's what I need. And let's see if I can get some of those ordered from Amazon. And I might have tightened that up just a little bit too much, but I'd rather have it too tight. Now there's just a little bit of play there, and that's what we wanted. And let's go ahead and add drop of oil into the handle up here. And I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like about it. For now, that's Rick Stivers of YoungMartin'sReels, signing out.